everybody. Pleasure to see you all here today. We weren't quite sure how many people would get coming down. We thought we might get one or two, but it's great to see a sort of full room. We've got another full room this afternoon. I think we're all here because we and you care about our future, and the qualification is absolutely crucial to that in terms of making sure we maintain our standards that we have done for the last 100 years, and we want another 100 years of history for the Institute and our profession as well. But it's also about comparability with other professions, and it's also about maintaining the standards of where the qualification framework currently sits. But it's also about maximising our impact for our communities that we work with. So we have to be relevant to what local government needs, and we have to reflect those changes in the review that's taking place. Today is all about you, really. It's about giving you an opportunity to ask questions about what's going on. There's loads and loads of work going on here in sunny Langdon, but also there's, and it's important that you're part of that process so you can shape the journey and you can ask questions and feel like you're fully briefed on what's going on. Peter's done a great job in terms of writing articles for the review, and there's loads of stuff on the website, but there's nothing better than face-to-face question and answers, and that's really what today's all about. So let me introduce the two gentlemen by my sides who should need no introduction, but I'll introduce them anyway. Phil Owen, our Director of Professional Standards from now. Phil's obviously be familiar to most of you in terms of leading our education and qualification work. And our chairman, Peter Heafield, who is at the spearhead, the vanguard of this kind of change. What we're going to happen today, we've just got 2 hours to go through this, so we'll kick off with a couple of presentations. So Peter will talk through the strategic review so far, and that will include the portfolio elements as well, the changes, something that is dear to a lot of your hearts. And then we'll just have a chance to open up the floor for you to ask questions. And then we'll move into, we'll have a quick comfort break, and then we'll move into the definition of the trading standards practitioner, and you'll see how that fits into the review process.
I'm Pete Heafield, currently chair of the Institute, and in my years as vice chair, now chair, I've been leading the strategic review with a view to making sure that the qualifications framework in its entirety, both in its content and how it's used, is fit for the future as far as the profession is concerned. I've been involved in the process for a long time now, and in fact I was involved in the initial construction of the framework, where we were looking to create one framework for the whole profession, modular in approach so it's flexible and usable by employers, and achieve various things like status for the profession, and included competencies, which is what a lot of the previous qualifications didn't. So it was modernising it so it was up to date in terms of competence and professionalism. So we've gone through quite a journey so far in terms of structuring it, setting it up, recognising there are some problems with its use and some difficulties in the way it was constructed, and now reviewing it to make sure we get it right for the future. Part of that process has been a lot of consultation with members and an ongoing consultation. This is not the end, this is just one step in the process, and thank you very much for coming along today to contribute to it, because a lot of the stuff we've done is in response to what people have said, and we need to explain that and explain the reasons behind some of the changes we've made and why some things are in there in the way they're in there, so you understand that, and that ultimately the Institute Council is the deciding body in terms of how we go forward and makes informed decisions, as I keep reminding people in the articles in TS today. So if we can just go into the process that we've adopted, which is about, first of all, a consultation with the interested parties. And we set up a strategic review group, which is an ad hoc group with volunteers who've got a lot of interest in the qualification, prepared to give time and effort to do that. So we can identify from all sectors, whether it was members, people in public sector, private sector, the colleges, the training providers, the assessors, and so on. Everybody that we could think of. It's an open invitation to join that if you're prepared to contribute and represent and consult your sector. We've also used letters and questionnaires to members, and we will continue to do that as we go forward. Articles in TS today I've already mentioned. We've been trying to explain to people what we're thinking, what we're doing, how you can get involved as members. Branch and section meetings, which have proved useful in terms of making sure we're aware of people's views and trying to communicate what's happening at the time. Website and email as well, using in terms of things like frequently asked questions, and making sure that people can email in their concerns, queries and comments and ideas, because we need ideas in terms of how we resolve some of the very difficult problems we've got to address. So we're looking to develop any necessary changes, and we've done some of those already in terms of the portfolio. We'll return to that later. And then make the necessary recommendations to the governing bodies, because we're not deciding what the final outcome is. It's the governing bodies, the structure that's there in the institute and in the qualifications regime, the awarding body and the council that are going to make the decisions at the end of the day. We're just trying to make sure that we get the process right, so that when the decisions are made, they're sound decisions and take the whole profession forward, the institute. So that's the process we're going through, and I say we're partway through that process. I'm looking to see if we can complete that during my year of office as chair, so we've got it essentially fixed for the future and fit for the purpose, and everybody's supporting it. Progress to date, we've produced a revised draft of the portfolio, a revised version. In terms of the way it's shaped, it's still looking to deliver the same assurances regarding competence in all the different areas in which we work, but changing the format of it we think is going to make it more efficient to use. And that was seen as a priority by the strategic review group and all of the people we spoke to in the very first start of this. So effort was put into that. A small working group was set up in order to address it, revise it, and we think we just about got there on that front. Chief officers clearly integral, fundamental to the process of using the framework. So local government and chief officers have been engaged in the process, and we've had one meeting with a range of chief officers representing all types of authority. We use the Association of Chief TSOs, who've got membership from all types of authority to try and do that. We've done some work there in terms of identifying what they as employers wanted, and that was largely based around the skills. Less so about the knowledge in terms of people requiring it, but it was about the skills. They wanted people capable of certain activities out there in delivering the agenda for the local authority and the services. So, and we were already focused on that, and a lot of that was already contained within the framework and the portfolio. We've done a lot of work to tidy that up and reshape it so it's clear that's the case. So it's important that we work within the profession to get this right, but also look outside the profession to the context, both in terms of what's required of us and what the other professions are doing. How can we link into that? How we benefit from that? I think in the future, integration of regulatory service in authority is going to be more and more common, obviously, as people look to reduce costs. We need to get engaged in that process, understand it, the implications of it, and latch into it, making sure that we're getting the maximum benefit for our members of the profession and the institute. Further consultation, and this is part of the process on the detail of the revised portfolio. We need to plan and implement the transitional process there, because people are working on the previous format, and we've said all along the importance is that we do not at any stage disadvantage people who are doing the current format, and we don't make people turn off and just stop doing it and say, I'll just wait for the new one. Training needs to be ongoing. We need to make sure we've got that right, and it's a fairly complex process in making sure we address everybody's concerns, and some of the things we're hoping to learn today that we need to address. We've got a questions and answers process on the website. We're trying to address and identify all the issues for individuals and groups of people and making sure we address them in a fair manner. And that's going to need to be communicated carefully as well, so people understand it, because it won't be a simple process. I'm hoping that the transition, as I said in the last article in TS today, I'm sure that it will help people once they've moved to the new system and got the benefit from the old system, so that they're actually accredited within the new system, what they've done already, that they can then move on through the whole process more quickly and efficiently than they have in the past, which is one of the issues we've got with. So in doing that, we've got to go back to council in terms of the trading standards practitioner. There was one paper put to the council in March. There was a debate around what that meant for members of the profession, whether it was acceptable or not. Further work was needed. We've done some further work on that, and Phil will be going through that in some detail after the break, so that again you can contribute to that debate. We're also looking at chartered status, the implications of that. What are the benefits? What are the downside? So again, council understands all of these issues, both the pros and cons, and can make an informed decision. And the introduction of a CPD process that, in terms of the training standards practitioner, would need to be a mandatory process, but equally a robust process, so that employers, stakeholders know that once you've achieved that status of practitioner, and the institute's making sure you're kept up to date, that although you achieved that sort of 10 years ago, you're actually up to date in terms of the current context. That's really important, both for practitioner and for the profession, that we'd use that much more effectively than we have in the past, and make sure it's providing member benefits and assurance to stakeholders. We need to, as I say, integrate TSQF with developments in other regulatory services, making sure we're not doing this in isolation or losing out on opportunities to expand the market, cross-sell with other professions, make sure we get ahead of the game on that front, and ensure sustainability with integration of other services. Things like e-learning and member support, in terms of membership support package, how do we actually make sure that members can see real benefits from being engaged in this process? What systems, what facilities would they like to see in terms of the membership package, so that the cost of the whole process of making sure this works is covered within the Institute's business model. So still lots to do, but we need some fundamental steps in place. Start with, based around getting the content and format and shape of it right, so that we can use that as the building blocks for all the other stuff that needs to happen. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen to get this right. And your contributions today is most welcome. Thank you for your time. I think what we also need people to do from today is to go out there and talk to their colleagues, making sure that their council reps kept informed about the debate, that we'll be contacting council reps to make sure that they're listening to the debate out there and come along to council with an informed mandate about some of the decisions that's going to need to be made, either at this council, and we need to move on with things, or at the council in March, where I think we definitely need to finalise a lot of the stuff that we've got to do.